Are you sure you're right? Some people believe success will solve all their problems.
Does success fix everything? Sound familiar? A lot of people believe that once they become successful, all their problems will magically disappear. More money, higher status, and suddenly life becomes easier. Like a video game, just level up and the monsters disappear. But here's the problem. Real life isn't a game. And this is one of the most common logical mistakes humans make. We often think life works like a simple equation. Success equals no more problems. But in reality, life is more like a software update. You fix one bug, and the system immediately shows you 3 new ones. For example, someone thinks, if I just make more money, my stress will disappear. So they work day and night, take extra shifts, push themselves harder. Eventually, yes, they do make more money, but then they discover something interesting. Their income increased and their stress came in a bundle package. Before they worried about paying rent, now they worry about making the wrong investment. Before they feared their boss calling them, now they fear their clients calling them. Before they only had to manage themselves, now they have to manage an entire team, and each person is basically their own emotional universe. In other words, success doesn't remove problems, it simply changes the type of problems you have. But the human brain loves simple stories. We want to believe there's a magical destination. One day, once we reach it, everything will finally be okay. No anxiety, no pressure, no uncertainty. Reality, when you move to the next level, life just gives you a harder exam. A student thinks, once I graduate, everything will be fine. An employee thinks, once I get promoted, everything will be fine. An entrepreneur thinks, once my company is stable, everything will be fine. But the word fine is actually very strange, because life rarely has a game completed button. This is the logical mistake. We confuse solving all problems with upgrading our ability to solve problems. Successful people are not people with no problems. They're people who handle problems at a higher level. Imagine 2 people. One earns $300 a month, another earns $10,000 a month. Both have problems. The difference is simply one worries about having enough money for food at the end of the month, the other worries that one wrong decision could cost them millions. The problems don't disappear. The size of the problems changes. And the funny thing is, when we look from the outside, we only see the success, not the problems that come with it. You see a business owner driving a luxury car, but you don't see the nights they can't sleep because of business decisions. You see a famous person with millions of followers, but you don't see the pressure of always having to appear perfect. You see someone with their dream job, but you don't see the responsibility behind it. Our brain has a very interesting habit. We compare other people's highlights to our own behind the scenes. And then we conclude, if I were as successful as them, I'd probably be happier. Maybe, but not because they don't have problems. It's because they learned how to deal with problems better. And this difference is extremely important. If you believe success will eliminate all problems, you will always be disappointed. Because every time you reach a goal, you'll realize life still has something else waiting for you. But if you understand that success simply increases your ability to handle problems, everything changes. At that point, the goal is no longer a life without problems. The goal becomes to become someone strong enough to handle bigger problems. Weak people wish life were easier. Strong people become better. And here's the slightly funny truth about humans. We spend a lot of time trying to avoid problems, but life rewards the people who solve problems. An employee gets promoted because they solve problems. A business grows because it solves problems for customers. A person earns respect because they solve problems for others. In other words, your value in society is often proportional to the problems you can solve. So instead of asking, how can I live a life without problems? Maybe the better question is, how can I become better at solving problems? Because then, success is no longer the place where you escape problems. It becomes the place where you have the ability to face them. And maybe the most interesting question is this: do you want a life without problems, or a life where you're strong enough to solve whatever problems appear?
But success often introduces new responsibilities and pressure.
Are you sure success makes you happy? Many people believe that once they become successful, all their problems will disappear. More money, higher status, easier life. But the truth is a bit ironic. Success doesn't erase problems, it simply upgrades them to a premium version. When you're not successful yet, you worry about not having enough money. When you become successful, you worry about losing money. When you don't have a position, you worry about how to be recognized. When you finally have the position, you worry about how to keep it. The problems don't disappear, they just change outfits. This is a very common logical mistake humans make. We imagine success as a reset button. Press it once and all the pressure in life disappears. But in reality, success is more like leveling up in a game. The higher the level, the stronger the boss. Imagine someone who just got promoted. Before the promotion, they thought, if I could just get that position, life would be fine. But once they actually sit in that chair, they discover something interesting. The higher the seat, the stronger the wind. Now they're not only responsible for themselves, they're responsible for an entire team. Their decisions affect more people, and their mistakes become much more expensive.
I'm overwhelmed.
Or look at
Wait,
people who have a
all
lot
this
of money.
money is mine?
When they didn't
Yes!
have money, they believed money would bring freedom. But once they have more of it, new worries appear. Where should they invest? Who might be taking advantage of them? How do they protect their assets? And most importantly, how do they avoid losing what they built? In other words, success is not the end of pressure. It's simply the upgraded version of pressure. But here's the interesting part. This is not bad news. It's actually good news. Because if problems are unavoidable in life, then the goal is not to live without problems. The goal is to have better problems. Sounds strange, right? But think about it. An unemployed person has problems. A person running a company with 100 employees also has problems. But those two types of problems are very different. One worries about what they will eat tomorrow. The other worries about how to open the next branch. Both feel pressure, but one type of pressure is far more worth having. So instead of asking, how can I live without problems? Maybe a better question is, what kind of problems do I want to have? Do you want the problems of someone who is stuck or the problems of someone who's moving forward? Because in this life, problems never disappear. They simply change as you change.
So success changes problems rather than be removing them. It doesn't get rid of them, it just shifts them around.
Do you think success removes problems? Sounds reasonable, right? Many people believe that once they become successful, all their problems will disappear. No more money worries, no more pressure, no more stress. Life will become smooth and easy, like those perfect posts on social media. But there's an uncomfortable truth. Success doesn't eliminate problems. It only changes the type of problems. When you're broke, the problem is money. When you have money, the problem becomes protecting it. When you're unknown, you worry that no one notices you. When you're famous, you worry that everyone notices you too much. When you're an employee, you worry about a difficult boss. When you become the boss, you realize employees are a much harder problem to manage. This is a common logical mistake humans make. We imagine success like a magical delete all errors button. But in reality, it's more like leveling up in a video game. The monsters don't disappear. They just get bigger, faster, and smarter. A simple example. A student thinks, as long as I graduate and get a job, everything will be fine. But once they get the job, new problems appear. Low salary, high pressure, a demanding boss. And then they think, if I just earn more money, things will be better. But when the salary increases, the problems change again. Less time, more responsibility, and even dreams filled with deadlines. See the pattern? Life isn't about having no problems. Life is about choosing the type of problems you want to deal with. Unsuccessful people have the problems of failure. Successful people have the problems of success. There is no path that comes without pressure. The funny part is that most people don't actually want a life without problems. They just want better problems. A beginner salesperson stresses because there are no customers. A successful salesperson stresses because there are too many customers to handle. Sounds ironic, right? But everyone would prefer the second kind of stress. So the real goal isn't to find a life with zero problems. The real goal is to upgrade yourself so you can handle bigger problems, because bigger problems usually come with bigger opportunities. A small company worries about surviving each month. A big company worries about global strategy. An average person worries about daily expenses. An investor worries about the market crashing. Different problems, but still problems. And here's the paradox. Once you understand this, life's pressure suddenly becomes more reasonable. Instead of asking, why do I still have problems? Maybe the better question is, what level of problems am I solving? If your life is full of small problems, maybe you're still on a small level. If your problems start becoming more complex, maybe you're leveling up. So the next time you think, once I become successful, everything will be fine, remember this simple truth. Success is not the end of problems, it's just an upgraded version of them. The real question isn't whether you have problems or not. The real question is, what level of problems do you want?